In the late 19th century, the area where I'm standing was one of the last settlements of the old Chisholm Trail cattle drives in Texas, before the trail crossed the Red River into Oklahoma Territory. Now, the settlement was, and still is, called Nocona, Texas. Population about 3,000.
The city of Nocona in North Texas is named for Comanche chief Peta Nocona, who was the father of the last Comanche chief. The area was first known to the pioneers as the last stop in Texas before crossing the Red River on the Chisholm Trail. It was founded in 1887 along a particular bend in the Gainesville, Henrietta, and Western Railway line, which soon became part of the Missouri-Kansas-Texas Railroad, connecting Gainesville and Henrietta, and later Wichita Falls. Nocona assumed the role of economic and industrial center of northern Montague County, while many older towns in the area, bypassed by the railroad, shuttered and its citizens moved to Nocona. The city has steadily maintained a population of around 3,000 since the 1940s, though industries responsible for its growth have come and gone. The Northfield, an oil field between Nocona and the Red River, contributed to Nocona's economy for much of the 20th century and continues to do so on a small scale. The MKT line, which was responsible for Nocona's founding, was abandoned in 1969 and the tracks removed in 1971. Nocona has a proud history of leatherworks and has been home to Justin Industries, Nocona Boot Company, and the Nocona Belt Company. Nocona Boot Company and Justin Industries have since moved. However, the Montague Boot Company has been established in downtown Nocona, making boots for the Larry Mahan line at Cavender's Boot City. Also integral to the Nocona economy is the Nocona Athletic Goods Company, which manufactures baseball gloves, bats, catcher's equipment, and other sports accessories. The athletics goods facilities burned in July 2006, and production has been moved to a temporary facility. Significant efforts are underway to revitalize the Clay Street downtown area. Nocona has a lake approximately 10 miles north of the city, appropriately named Lake Nocona. It is a recreational lake popular with people from across north central Texas. On Lake Nocona sits Nocona Hills, an attractive gated lakeside city with many homes, a hotel, golf course, landing strip, and other amenities. Nocona is also home to an 18-hole golf course, airstrip, hospital, and one of the finest city parks in Texas.
The town of Nocona has long been known for its leather goods production. Though operating at a slower pace than in its past, Nocona still has a baseball glove factory, which turns out roughly 100 ball gloves a day. It's a family business run by a fourth generation. Nocona is also known for its cowboy boot manufacturing operations, which ship hundreds of pairs a day all over the United States.
Texas is famous for a lot of things. Nocona, Texas is famous for being the leather capital of the Southwest and the home of Fenolio Boot Company.
We've been making boots in Nocona, Texas for as long as there's been cowboy boots. Everybody that grew up in this area takes a lot of pride in the leatherworking of this town.
Nobody understands a cowboy boot like a Texan.
There's no reason we can't make the best cowboy boot out there.
Here at Fenolio Boot, we don't take any shortcuts. That's one of the biggest things we pride our company on, is we want the cowboy boot that's traditionally made in Texas, made by Texans, right here where it all started.
When we make a Nocona ball glove here, to me, that says something very special about our company. It's made by people who take pride in what they do. They really like what they do. And they want to make sure that that particular ball glove is something that will make that customer very proud to have it, very proud to wear it.
Wearing a glove that's made here in the United States and actually having the experience of working with you guys specifically on, what I like as a player and having it tooled exactly to what my preferences are is actually pretty special. I like being able to work with you guys and figure that part of it out.
People come from all over the country here, and they just want to come here to buy an American-made glove.
We're handcrafting ball gloves in this country, in the United States of America, for America's pastime. It's a very unique, special thing that we're doing.
My grandfather always said, if I have to import, I'm just going to take a bucket of worms and go fishing. So that's kind of been our mantra since he said that.
There's going to be something for everybody. And when you have a glove that is made with such quality, that's going to last potentially a lifetime, and then you can send it back and they'll clean it up for you again and get it right, get it back out to you.
I like it when a grandfather brings in his old glove and wants to redo it for his great-grandkid.
I have gotten letters mentioning how proud they were that they could have saved this glove.
And while this is what rush hour in Nocona looks like on a typical weekday morning, it wouldn't look nearly this calm and quiet if all of Pete Horton's Corvette collection took to the streets at once.
Here in Nocona, this auction is a very big deal because this town only has about 3,000 people, but this weekend the town explodes. How important is this event to the community?
It's very important. They lost their biggest industry here was lost and was sent to Mexico. The owners brought the town, the business to Mexico, and there was like 400 or 500 people working there, and they all lost their jobs. And many years ago, a friend of mine came and said he wanted to move his business back here because he was from here as a child. And he moved his company back here, and it exploded a redevelopment of this whole town. I mean, 6 years ago, you could have bought this whole town for $100,000. Now you can't touch property here for less than $100,000 or $200,000 for just a little bitty lot because they just exploded the redevelopment. I mean, then they welcome you with open arms because they understand what tourism is all about. Mr. Horton put in a car museum. There's over 200 of some of the world-class quality cars in that building there. And we've given tours and people are like, wow, these cars are in Nocona? Yeah, it's the classic car capital of Texas.
So one last question. What's your prediction for the town of Nocona and this event? What's going to happen to this community now?
Oh, it's going to continue to grow. I mean, it's our 4th year here, and we've seen it grow every year. I mean, you can't get a hotel within 30 miles of here. I mean, all the hotels are booked here. The RV parks are booked. You know, it's just, once you come and experience, you're going to come back. You believe me, you will love it here.
Today we're going to build a Fenoglio boot. We're going to build it the right way, the traditional way. All the way from selecting the leather and cutting it by hand, to finishing the leather, boxing it, and shipping it out the door.
I'm a third generation boot maker. I've been around it my entire life. I worked in every position in the factory. At Fenoglio Boot Company, we really are keeping the tradition of boot making alive.
From the time we receive an order, whether it be a large order or the one customized pair we make for you, it starts with a production ticket.
After the customer orders the boot, it comes to us out in the factory. We take it to our first step, issuing. Our exotic skins and even our traditional skins are hand selected and brought in from all over the world. We deal in genuine article leather. It's all the real deal.
When you're buying a Fenoglio boot, there's a couple of things that you can come to expect in every pair you pick up. You'll have the full leather construction of the boot. There will be nothing that's synthetic. That translates into a better wearing boot.
A lot of customers, we try to let them really personalize their boot, really pick out something that they're really going to love. You know, we want these people to show their boots off and be proud of where they came from and the job we've done. Sean gathers up the leathers that we need that's listed on the ticket, puts them into a tub, takes it over to the cutters. They cut the boots out with what are called clicker machines. They cut out all the pieces that are needed for the boot. We have a history of about 150 years of boot making knowledge that gets to be passed down to the next generation. There were great people that worked for Nokona Boot that I grew up knowing. They were quite characters, you know, but they were really craftsmen. I've got a lady that works for me that runs the whole fitting and stitching departments that she actually went to work for the boot company the month I was born. She must love it. You couldn't do something for 39 years if you don't really have a passion for it.
My name is Darcy Reeves. The boots leave the cutting department and they come straight to my area. I love seeing it whenever the new patterns, especially some of the brands that we put on stuff, that when they turn out and look really good, or when we have picked out colors in it, just looks so nice on that certain piece of leather. On this Fenoglio boot that we are starting, we use the 1510 style number, which is an original that nobody else has seen.
Once it flows through the fitting area, it comes into the side seaming area. We turn it right side out. Just before lasting and after it's been rubbed and turned, we sew on the pull straps.
It goes back to quality, completely quality. You can look at my boots and you can't tell much about it, but when you pick one of them up or you wear one of them and you look and see all the work that went in, it just makes you proud to be able to produce something like that.
Then it goes to lasting, where we form the boot around the last. It's anchored to the last through the insole with some nails. The boot is heel seated, so the heel of the boot takes its shape around the last and over the insole. Then they get to sit there and dry out, so that boot makes sure it retains the shape and form of the last we've put it around.
People that work for Fenoglio Boot Company are true craftsmen that believe in what they're doing and have spent their lifetime of building cowboy boots.
The next day, we will pick up there at heel seating and the boots get inseamed. That's really something that we are proud to do. We actually inseam our boots. A lot of them are flat lasted, so that outsole's just glued on there. Ours is not. We sew through the welt, through the leather, through the insole, so that boot is not just glued together, it is stitched.
One of our biggest goals is to offer this boot that is 100% man-made with great materials at an affordable price, so that cowboys and ranchers and guys that like us that rope, have cows and go out dancing can enjoy this product and not set aside a large amount of money to enjoy a great product that's made in Texas.
We changed some of the processes. We actually went less automated in some areas. That way the hands-on and the handcrafted part of that boot came back. We just take a little more time and put a little more quality and a lot of heart and soul into it. Not to put down what was done before, but I just think we took it to the next level. Sole stitching is one of our main ones. The boot is sewn with a lock stitch. It cuts a groove in the leather of the outsole so that stitch is buried down in there so you don't wear it out as fast.
With Fenolio, every time you put that boot on, it's going to be a perfect fit. Some of the materials that we don't skip are your lemon wood pegging. It's a very traditional way of making a boot.
The Fenolio boot line, we're really getting back to old school, back to basics, back to how boots were made and how, in my opinion, they should be made. What's cool about the lemon wood pegs is it takes a lot longer to do, but that boot's really going to hold together. If you wear that boot out in the weather, in the snow or the mud or the rain, the wood's not going to corrode and rust the way a regular nail would. Then we actually do finally attach the heel to it. And that's one area that really has stepped up quality in our boots. The outsole attaching and the heel attaching, those nails interlocking, is a step that not everyone does that really ensures that the boot hangs together and holds up to whatever you throw at it. So if you go in after you've been working hard and you just want to kick your boots off and you use your foot to do it, that outsole and the heel, they're going to be stayed on there. It's not just going to come apart on you.
We are a part of an industry of about 80 different brands of ball gloves, but we're the only company that has our own factory, and we're the only factory in the United States. This is Oh Give Me a Home Where the Buffalo Roam. We've been using it about 20 years now. It's kind of a spongy type of a leather. This is kangaroo, this is kangaroo. When we make a glove out of kangaroo, for the most part, we're going to make half of it out of kangaroo and half of it out of cowhide. The problem with kangaroo is that it is not very thick, so it doesn't have a lot of body to it. It kind of is floppy. The tensile strength is 2 to 3 times stronger than cowhide. This is one of our cookie cutters right here. This is the palm, which is always the largest part that we cut. We do have dies going back to the 30s. Each glove that we make usually has about 3 different pieces of embroidery on it. And we can put your name on a glove, we can put logos on a glove. Nolan Ryan's first glove was a Nocona. So he's always kind of had a soft spot for us. And after their 2 World Series years, one of those Christmases, he decided he wanted to give a Nocona ball glove to every employee of the Rangers. That was 320 people. And it had the Rangers name on the index finger, it had the Rangers logo on the thumb, and then on every thumb was every employee's name individually stitched out. What she's doing now is taking that lining palm, and you can see there's that handcrafted Nocona, Texas. She's going to sew this onto this. Here's the palm of the glove. She's going to sew this on here in such a way that everything's going to be inside out. She's going to start adding a welt line right there and go up and down, finishing the whole perimeter of those fingers. This is the hardest job in the factory. Martin's job is to turn the glove inside out. This one is a half kangaroo, half cowhide model, so it is not as difficult as some of the models are. Now he goes back to the hot fingers because he wants to stretch that leather out, start to resemble a glove. And a lot of people will say, well, all there is to making a ball glove is just lacing some leather together. There's about 60 holes in that one die, okay? They have to be matched up with all these holes on the back. Cosmoline is a lot of wax and a little bit of mineral oil. It's a very sticky substance, but what we use it for is a stickle. Now you'd say, well, why don't you just use glue? We want this area in here to be very sticky because we want that palm to want to stay touching that. Now we could put glue in there, but after a while it would dry out, and as you're bending the glove, it would finally break loose. She's working on and repairing gloves. Now you will find people around the country that will work on gloves, but you don't find factories that work on gloves. So we're the only factory in the world where if you have a Nocona glove and something goes wrong with it, you can send it back to us and we can fix it. Try that with your Rollins glove. Say, yeah, could you send that back over to Guangdong, China? In some cases, we've had gloves come back to us over a 30-year period 3 or 4 times. And in some cases, those gloves don't have an original part left to them when they go out the door after that 3rd time, except for one thing. They may still have grandpa's memories in them, or dad's. Well, the next things that we do and you'll see this a lot. You probably even do it. You ever do that? We're going to try to work out the wrinkles in here because a wrinkle might cause an error, and you can't have that, so people are always doing that. Well, now, we got a guy named Vito. For years, the way we would do that, we would take one of these, what we call a glove mallet, and you just kind of lightly tap on the leather. You were asking how to break it in, just lightly.
When you put that boot on, it'll be what you come to expect when you put on a $1,000 custom boot. Everything will be there, everything will fit well.
And the boot moves into the finishing area. In this area, it becomes extremely crucial to make sure that this boot looks as good as possible. So every step from the inking and the boot washing is very important. But the main purpose of that, really and truly, is to keep water and mud and stuff from absorbing into the outsole. So we stamp the Fenoglio logo on the bottom of the outsole. We also condition each and every boot before it goes out the door. Then we steam all of the boot tops in a boot steamer. We tree the boots, which irons them from the inside out, makes the top stand up nice and pretty. And then it goes to inspection, where we do just that. We inspect each and every boot that goes out the door. We look for any small flaw or anything that we can fix. Once it passes inspection, it goes to the boxing area. We make sure that everything's correct with the boot once more, and we put it in the box and pray somebody loves them.
I am proud to make Fenoglio boots.
It's a pleasure to walk through the factory and see these people working.
It's just something I'm really proud to do.
Keeping boot making alive in Nocona, there is so much history here, and to have a Fenoglio boot that is made with pride, that says it even more.
We kept the best boot makers that know how to make a quality boot.
Every boot that leaves our factory is inspected 3 or 4 times. We care because it has our family name on it.
I was determined that boot making would stay alive and well under me, as it did with my father and my grandfather before me.
There's nothing finer than a Fenoglio boot.
Welcome folks to Nocona and to Nocona Beer and Brewery. My name is Ken Kohlmeyer, and I'm the owner and creator of this factory. And I've been involved in every stage of the creation of this over, it'll be 2 years this coming December. I've been brewing beer less than a year. We started last December, but things are up and running and we're all excited about it, and I'm glad you're here to help tell this story.
My name is Dave Young. I'm the head brewer here at Nocona Beer and Brewery. We do a lot of experimentation to try new things. For canning, we'll bring in several thousand cans. We'll typically can anywhere from 100 to 150 cases of beer at a setting. And if I have enough hands, it'll be a little bit easier, but basically we have a 4-nozzle canning machine. We're feeding 24 cans into it at a time, and it'll fill at a rate of up to 1,000 cans an hour.
My granddad, he was faced with, do we go to Japan like all of our competitors and tell all of our people in the United States to go home just because that's what everybody else was doing? And he said no. His favorite saying was, if I've got to tell everybody to go home and go to Japan, then I'm going to take a bucket of worms and just go fishing. I'm not going to do it. I saw this today and I thought we've got to get a picture of this, because we've got one customer over in Taiwan. His name is Hammer Sue. And Hammer buys a lot of gloves from us. They wanted the Taiwanese flag there. And so my granddad would be thrilled about this, knowing that we had finally got some going back the other way. Our company, when we made wallets and purses, we were Nocona Leather Goods, N-O-C-O-N-A. But when my granddad made that first ball glove, he wanted to put the company name on the glove. So he sent a letter to the U.S. Trademark Office in Washington, D.C., and he said, I'd like to trademark NOCONA. Well, they sent a nice letter back to him, and they said, you can't, because there's an incorporated city in Texas with that name already. He quickly said, we're going to change it to a K and tell everybody that's how the Indians spelled it. Okay? Now, our name is a Nocona. Nocona is a Comanche Indian name. Peta Nocona, P-E-T-A, was born in 1820, either out in the Paladora Canyon area or up in Indian Territory. Do you know where that's at? That's what they used to call Oklahoma.
When I see one on a ball field, I'm just ecstatic. I'm happy about that. That's something that I did, that I had a part in, and I don't think there's a better feeling in the world.
There are certain undeniable truths in this world. Hard work doesn't come naturally to just everyone. Some people have an ability to push themselves harder than others. Not every artist can paint or sculpt. Some artists are just more practical in their endeavors. When a person is truly passionate about something, they will indeed surpass all those around them. And that's why there's nothing finer than Fenoglio.
We're making a song, and I'm not a musician, but pretty soon it's going to be boots, beer, and baseball gloves, and that's the story of Nocona.